Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. It is a chilly Thursday afternoon here in Philadelphia. Kristen and I are gathered around the microphone to talk a little bit about theoretical WNBA free agency. But before we get into all of the juicy details about where players may be on the move to, Kristen, how are you feeling today?
Frankly, I'm stressed. Work has just been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I am freezing, so I can't go outside.
Mm-hmm.
A lot is going on.
Yeah, most of the country is under snow, either like a threat of snow or just a sheet of ice.
It is just a sheet of ice. Really, I'm like fear for my life every time I have to walk to work because I slip like every other step on this ice.
I saw a guy that was like so gingerly moving the other day, and I kind of think that it's like he fell earlier the day, and like I will not fall again.
I believe it.
I have yet to slip, even slip a little bit. So
you don't.
That means I'm due.
True.
That means I'm very
Brace
due.
yourself.
I'm braced. Well, like we said, subject of today's episode is WNBA free agency. But if you would like to reach out and contact us, you can do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on Twitter, Bluesky, or Instagram at ATBPod_. We're there posting about the show, posting about Unrivaled, which has been hot. If you haven't had a chance to check out, if you're listening to this, there should be same day our Unrivaled Week 2 preview pod, which is going to be a separate mini pod. That's how we're going to sort of do Unrivaled, we think. We're going to keep it kind of separate instead of just bringing it into the show proper, because there's going to be a lot of WNBA news happening soon, even if right now we're just talking about theoretical stuff. But just so you know, that's how we're keeping it separated. 5-star rating and reviews. Appreciate every one of you that has gone out of your way to do that. I would appreciate if you're listening or watching this on YouTube or wherever you're getting your show, just click either subscribe or 5-star on whatever platform that you love to use to listen to our wonderful WNBA podcast. So, today we are going to react to an article that came out this afternoon on ESPN, the best fits for top 10 2025 WNBA free agents on the move. Mm-hmm. So this is a article about 10 players that are theoretically on the table to be moved from one team to another. But we know, before any of this, that once the free agency period began on the 11th of January, there were a number of corings. And we've talked about coring a ton. You can go back and listen to any other episode where we talk about coring to explain what it is. We're not doing that here, but we're going to talk about who was actually cored and who will theoretically sign a contract with the team that cored them. Mm-hmm. So why don't you go over the list of our 6 cored players, because not all of them appear on this article.
Yeah, people love to get cored.
People are loving coring.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was the first one, but we'll start with Brianna Stewart. Mm-hmm. She was cored by the Liberty last year for 1 year and is cored again this year for the Liberty for 1 year. At this point in this CBA, 2 times 2 years is the max people can be cored. So this is her last coring contract. Mm-hmm. I believe she will stay with the Liberty. She's not leaving.
Yeah, there's no reason to trade Stewie. There's no reason at all. She helps you win your first championship. She will help you at least compete for another one next year.
So that's Stewie.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we talk about the other free agent that's not on this list?
Yeah, I was thinking of who it was. Gabby Williams is the other person that was cored by the Storm. She seemingly likes the Storm, wants to be on the Storm, so we foresee her staying on the Storm.
Right. Something that we talked about in the past, something that, Kristen made me aware of when the Olympics were going on, that Gabby said, I'm willing to come to the WNBA as long as you core me, because one of her biggest things was not having the security financially to leave playing in the league that she was in Europe.
And we haven't seen these contracts as far as I'm concerned. So we don't know for how much money they've been cored for.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be the max.
But we say, yes, it doesn't have to be the max, because we have the case of Jordan Canada, who signed a 2-year, like $300,000 contract when she did her core that was split like 150, 150 or 170, 170, whatever it was. But typically a core is a 1-year max. So I would expect all of these cases to be 1-year maxes, but a team could theoretically go less than a max if it would make it easier for a player to be able to be traded.
There you go. So I think we will start seeing the contracts February 1st.
Yes.
Is when players can really start to sign contracts and have. So even these cord contracts, I don't think have been signed yet.
Right.
Technically.
And, players' agents are at work talking, because they are legally allowed to discuss now, but you can't sign anything until February 1st. But I just go look at any major WNBA account on any platform. There are so many free agents, so many unrestricted free agents, like pages and pages of them. There is going to be so much player movement, and it'll all be 1-year contracts. And then next year we have 2 expansion drafts. It is going to be, it's bonkers this year. It's going to be like amazing. If you're a fan of free agency, it's going to be so thrilling. So I really can't. February 1st is going to be crazy. There's going to be so much news.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the subject.
Okay, so you can start going through this now.
Okay, so those were our 2 that don't make the article. We'll start at the top, who wasn't one of our cord players, but one of the biggest contracts in the W, Jewell Loyd, a player that we've discussed on the show in a news segment the last couple weeks about how, actually, no, it was a while ago, she asked out of Seattle after everything that happened with the coaching staff and the players and the organization. Jewell has made it very vocal that she would like to be somewhere else. And now this article, and this is the first thing that popped in the article that surprised me, because it was not a concept that I ever thought of. Jewell Loyd, best fit considered Las Vegas Aces, with her other top option being the Chicago Sky, which is one that we thought of theoretically, because she has roots in Chicago, and they lost Kennedy Carter, or they chose not to re-sign Kennedy Carter, which is also news.
Yeah, that's tea.
But let's talk about this Vegas concept, because it implies one major thing, that Kelsey Plum will not be back in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And we've been hearing rumblings of this for a while. That, maybe Kelsey Plum will be traded to the Valkyries. She'll want to leave. I do not understand how this information gets around. But, I guess these rumors are true to some degree. That, for whatever reason, I don't know why, Kelsey Plum wants to leave, maybe. She is being heavily rumored that she will leave Las Vegas. And potentially go to the Valkyries. We'll get to that.
And I have not, as far as I know, she has not made it known. She has not vocalized that she will not be back with Las Vegas. The theory sort of spurs from, she left Unrivaled, and she went through a lot of, life changes and a difficult year last year. So people think that, maybe she would want to be distanced from Vegas. But I do still feel like if she wants to win a championship, that Vegas is probably the best spot. Sorry, we're talking about Kelsey Plum here. We should be talking about Jewell Loyd.
Loyd. Let's just start with Kelsey Plum then.
Fine. Skipping ahead.
It's a chain reaction.
It's a chain reaction. And you already said it. This article says that for Kelsey Plum, her best fit is in Golden State with the Valkyries, the upstart franchise, with her other options potentially being the Sparks and the Storm. Now, we can talk about Jewell and and KP hand in hand here, because the one theory is that there's just a straight up swap for Jewell and Kelsey. Now, Kelsey, in my opinion, is a better shooter than Jewell. Better volume shooter, at least. Jewell probably, has a bit more three-way scoring, is a bit bigger. But, I don't know how I feel about the straight-up swap. I can't really think about Jewell in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Do you have any, first opinions about Jewell in Las Vegas?
I mean, my opinion for Las Vegas is that they need more size and they need more defense. And I'm not sure that Jewell gives them either of those things.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's slightly different.
Yeah, she's slightly bigger than Kelsey Plum.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still, not a big guard.
No.
She's not a forward.
Right, and on a team that has gone 3 guards, 2 forwards, a forward and a center, 3 guards, with Chelsea and Jackie and KP playing in Vegas for the last several years. I don't know if it would be, like you've said, a better option for them to take that spot and find a bigger player that can score the basketball in volume.
Right.
Or just, increase Asia's workload a little bit more. Or Jackie Young is going to get better. And Jackie Young could just take more touches that KP would have otherwise taken. That could be also a part of the reason that they're willing to move Kelsey Plum. But I do just think, I think of Kelsey Plum in the year that we've been following. She feels like Vegas. We've said that. She is Vegas.
She is Vegas.
So it's just weird to think about her in any other position.
Yeah.
Her being the choice for the Valkyries as this is the star you want to hitch your wagon to, a 5'6" guard.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Seems like a bit of a choice. Mm-hmm. Especially, when we see Kate Martin kind of cooking in Unrivaled. Now, that's a separate subject, but Kate Martin right now is probably the biggest asset from all things considered for that Valkyries team.
I mean, just looking at this the Valkyries' current roster right now, excluding their international players, because we're not sure really what's happening with that, they have 4 forwards and a center pretty locked in.
Right.
So maybe they could use a more experienced guard.
Yeah, and Nakaze has said,
and
we want to shoot threes
from the Aces.
Yes, so it could be the Nakaze factor of it all.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's weird for the Valkyries at all. I think it's weird. I think it's weird if the Aces want to move Kelsey Plum, that they'd seek out a similar player to her. I think that they should try to fill other holes.
Sure. I guess the thing that gets weird is that what are the Valkyries trading back, because they will have to trade something for Kelsey Plum, but financially the Valkyries have a ton of, they're not spending a lot of money, so you could probably just trade Kayla Thornton, for instance.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Right. But at the end of the day, interesting situations. Let's close out on
Jewell.
Let's close out on Jewell, which theoretically...
So it's weird to me to say the best fit for Jewell in this offseason is Las Vegas, when they already have good guards.
Sure.
So to me, the best fit for Jewell is Chicago.
Right.
Where she could shine as their star guard player.
Correct. When they're lacking in any elite guard play.
Right.
When you have 2 bigs that are your franchise right now, and you in need of scoring too.
Who are rookies and have no experience. It makes sense to bring in an experienced guard.
Right. I mean, I think that's going to be part of Angel is a rookie, but Angel can try to recruit. She could try to recruit Jewell. Even though Angel has made it clear in her Unrivaled posting that wow, the amenities for Unrivaled are amazing, and Chicago does not have that. And that's part of the reason why Jewell might not want to go there. But yeah, I think schematically Chicago better fit than Las Vegas for Jewell. We'll see. So those are our first two. Moving on, Alyssa Thomas. They say the best fit, she stays home at Connecticut. Mm-hmm. I mean, new head coach, Rashid Meesseman from the Belgian national team. Good coach from, all things considered. But that is like, I don't know, a moment for AT and DB, especially considering that they're married, to look at each other and be like, are we going to want to start over with a brand new coach? Or should we go somewhere where we have, there's a more set roster that we can just better and go for a ring, because that's like the thing that she doesn't have. Mm-hmm. And
well, DeWanna Bonner, it did say something different for her best fit.
So do you want to just do hers as well?
We can kind of talk about both of them, yeah.
Okay. Because DeWanna Bonner, it says her best fit is Phoenix. And Phoenix is also listed for AT.
Right, as like a second option.
Naturally.
Look, okay, maybe we also now have to talk about Brittney Griner. Is she on this list?
Brittney Griner? Yes, she is. We're going all over the place.
Because they influence. Okay, Brittney Griner has started talking to teams about in free agency.
As an unrestricted free agent, she has free reign to talk about, with whatever team she would like to. She was previously cored, so now she says, I would like to test free agency. She will not guarantee to sign with the Mercury.
Which, I mean, to me, people are kind of freaking out about this. To me, it makes complete sense. Of course she's going to shop around and see where she could get the best deal.
Go get your bag.
Yeah, you don't have to, I get you've been in Phoenix your whole career, but you don't, owe them, I'm only going to talk to you when I'm an unrestricted free agent.
Right.
So that makes sense to me. In the case that she ends up leaving, we don't know what happens with Diana Taurasi. She's not listed here because who knows. But then that frees up a lot of space for Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner, potentially.
Right. Well, the problem with, if we think about BG leaving the Mercury and theoretically AT and DeWanna going to Phoenix, they would be so small. They would be so small. They would need to make another move for a proper center.
Phoenix.
Alyssa Thomas can't pretend to be your center.
No.
At 37. That should not be the move. So I feel like they need to be confident, if they want to go to Phoenix, that Phoenix will be able to add a little more size, because you could do a pretty good lineup, especially if Diana decides to come back and be, I don't know, either a starting guard, which would be crazy, or a bench guard. But Ka, AT, DeWanna Bonner, plus a center, let's say a Megan Gustafson or something, decides to move. I don't know. I don't know if I don't think they would be better than they were last time, but maybe they would, because
I think they would.
I guess I'm discrediting Alyssa Thomas a little bit. I shouldn't be.
They'd be way better.
She's amazing. But yeah, I mean, and Alyssa Thomas could just be your point guard. She could just play point. She could just be your passer, your primary passer, run the offense through her.
Yeah, sure.
And then, I don't know, let Ka go score and DeWanna go score. But it's an interesting fit for the two of them.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, because they've just been in Connecticut for so long, and they're looking at the twilight of their career, that they'll probably just stay. I personally think that's and that's why it says that's one of their top locations.
Fine. So then, to me, it also lists Brionna Jones, who's also on Connecticut, an unrestricted free agent, and it lists her best fit Connecticut.
Right.
That makes no sense to me. You're saying all of these unrestricted free agents who've been on Connecticut, their best fit is where they've been and when they haven't won. How is this their best fit?
It is funny to think about. The thing I'll say about Bri Jones, because I don't really have much of an opinion, but one of her other listings here is Phoenix. So imagine, take the 3, put them in Phoenix with Ka.
Well, I don't think Bri Jones should be. I think they could switch up, having not Bri Jones with AT and DeWanna Bonner again.
I was just saying it. Like, they would need a center if BG left.
Yeah, I guess.
But I think it would be pretty funny.
It would be funny.
It would be funny.
It would
And,
be funny.
you know, Nate Tibbetts is a good coach.
Yeah.
So that could be like, you know, the solid coaching that would help them pursue. But it's just a cross-country move for DeWanna Bonner.
Look, no one wants
AT.
to be in Connecticut right now.
That's true.
The ice.
That's true. Well, they live in Lancaster, so.
I'd rather be in Phoenix right now.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Let's close out this one other concept of Alyssa Thomas. They have her also noted as maybe going to the Lynx as a top option.
That's for what?
It would be like you're like a souped up Alana Smith. Like you swap out that Alana Smith spot and you put AT there. Like, it would work in theory, but also like Fee is there. It doesn't it would be pretty clunky.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty clunky in my opinion.
I don't love that.
Honestly, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Like, yeah, it would increase her odds of winning a championship because Cheryl Reeve is like really good at her job and she would find a way to make it work. But like, I don't see it. Bree Jones, other listed location, Dallas. Kind of weird considering that they have two centers in Dallas still. She could play forward. She could just play power forward with Tierra McCowan / Kalani Brown playing center.
I mean, if they're losing Satou, who said she wants to leave.
You're right.
They're going to need bigger forwards.
You're right. Yeah, so that theoretically would work for Bree Jones. And then for DeWanna Bonner, her last fit, Indiana Fever.
For sure, she could fit there.
Off the bench. I mean, Fever's not listed for Alyssa Thomas, which means that
She's not. Yeah,
they're not breaking up.
She wouldn't be with Aaliyah Boston there.
Correct. So, I don't know. Indiana's an interesting fit for DeWanna. Just like probably be a bench scorer or like replace what Temi gave them, even though Temi's more of a center and like DeWanna's not a center. But like, I don't know.
I think of her more as a center and Bree Jones as more of a forward.
Because DeWanna's so tall. It's so tall and thin.
Maybe she just like looks so much taller because she's so skinny, but she looks like so tall.
Right. So that's the story of our.
I need to see their heights.
That's our. Okay, well, let's height check.
DeWanna is 6'4".
She's very tall.
Yes. Oh, and Bree Jones is 6'3".
Okay, all right. I should give DeWanna a little credit.
Yeah, she's tall.
But she's not like
She's not big.
Big enough to like be a true center to like
Fine.
bang in the paint with centers.
But like Aaliyah Boston can do that. So
correct.
I think she would fit well in Indiana.
Well, again, AT's not going there, so it's not happening.
Okay.
So that is our Connecticut trio.
Yeah.
About where they fit the best. And then the last thing about Brittney Griner is either it says her best fit would be staying in Phoenix, which I think is probably pretty good. You could do one last ride with Diana, roll it out. I think her jersey belongs in the rafters there. So I feel like she's as much Phoenix as anybody. But her other concept is going to Dallas, which is also weird. They would have to make a move at one of their two centers that they still have.
Yeah, see, that makes no sense.
It doesn't work for me.
As a best fit for me when they already have two good centers.
Right. It literally says the Wings already have Tierra McCowan and Kalani Brown signed to guaranteed contracts, but the perennial all-star would be an upgrade at center.
Yeah, of course.
So some trade maneuvering would likely be necessary, per Alexa Filippo. I don't know. That kind of feels like, we just need to pick one more for Brittney Griner.
Yeah.
Another free agent that is being noted to be best fit for Connecticut is Emma Meesseman, which would not be surprising considering she was a player under Rashid Mezian on that national team.
In France. Or Belgium.
In Belgium.
Okay.
So, interestingly enough, if she decides that she wants to come back to the W, and she's like pretty highly touted in these lists, even though we haven't watched her play that much, her last team being Chicago in 22. Look, if all of them were to leave, if AT, DeWanna, and Bree Jones were to leave, Emma Meesseman come get a bag to be the best player on Connecticut, sure, could work, could help sell tickets. I don't know if Emma Meesseman's going to win a ring if she comes back, and unless...
No, she was really good. She was on... okay. She's a forward. Oh, also 6'4".
Okay.
She was on the winning Chicago team. I think she won, like, MVP of the finals or something.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, I don't think she would be able to do it all on her own if they were to decide to leave. Now, I guess if you keep AT and DeWanna Bonner, and then you just replace Bree Jones with Emma Meesseman, now you might be cooking with something. Which is why their best fits kind of belong in Connecticut. It's interesting. Again, Emma Meesseman, not a player that we know a ton about, only from the limited international play that we've seen. But the other two concepts that they have for Emma would be joining the Minnesota Lynx and joining the Liberty.
Makes no sense to me.
I don't know. Again, she would replace Alana Smith same way.
Why do we need to replace Alana Smith?
I don't
Why
think
are we doing that?
I mean, I guess you don't even have to replace her. She could just move to the back of the bench. But remember, we had Maisha Hines-Allen, who didn't give us anything in that finals. So replace her with Emma Meesseman, and dang, you got another offensive threat, another all-world talent. Yeah, it would soup up the Lynx if the Lynx are mostly deciding to run it back. That could be one of the places that they upgrade. How she fits in New York, I don't really know. Her and Stewie side by side would be kind of an interesting look, but her and Stewie and John Quell, don't really know if that works in my opinion, but it could. I don't know. Do you have anything else on Meesseman?
No, she won Finals MVP in 2019.
Okay, not in
2022.
Not in 2022. No, because they won in 21, I think, Chicago.
Oh, okay, so she didn't win with Chicago.
It was the year after. Yeah. Okay, so that is most of the list. We have two more names. We'll start with Satou Sabally, a player that we've talked about moving, has discussed, was cored. Says her best fit is in New York, and we know why that is, because she gets to play with her sister.
Yeah. I think her best fit is the Aces.
You really like that.
I love that.
I don't know if I like that.
Why?
Because I just don't know if you want to take touches that you would give to Asia and give them to Satou.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
Why?
you do. And they're similar-ish players. Ish.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is. We can have different opinions, but I just think someone with more speed is, which is why you're getting rid of Kelsey Plum. I don't know if that would slow them down, adding Satou. And from what I've seen of Satou and Unrivaled, now I know it's 3-on-3, haven't been really impressed. But,
Spoiler.
And she also, has her injury history. I don't know if that's a gamble that makes sense for Vegas to me, but maybe. It could be. But that's not one of the listed locations.
I know.
The other two being Indiana and Phoenix.
Perhaps.
I think both
Phoenix, perhaps, yeah.
I think all of those locations are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
For Satou. I think New York is kind of tough. Similarly, Stewie and John Quell and Satou. And then Yara Sabally coming off the bench. But then you could do Sabally and Sabally. You would have those looks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think New York's going to have the money that they don't have to pay Kayla and they
Right.
don't have to play Sloot if they want to just
Right.
throw that in a max. Or they're not signing the contract, but they would trade. I don't know how they would trade to get her, Satou. Picks.
True, because they could have traded Kayla Thornton, but now she's not there.
Benijah. I don't know.
You're going to need like a couple more than that,
Right.
since now she has a core contract.
It might be her best fit, theoretically, according to this article, but I just don't know how it gets done.
Well, you were saying you don't know how, salary-wise she'll fit in any of these places.
Correct.
For New York, so we are going off the assumption that the core contract will be somewhere around $260,000.
Yes, in that vicinity.
It could be less
True.
because last year Stewie was cored at only $205,000. And I know the contracts were less last year, but that's like significantly less.
Right.
So Stewie, we know, takes less than the core max.
Right.
Satou could as well. Who knows? Benijah makes $185,000 this year. So Benijah, I don't think they're gonna trade Leonie Phoebish. They love Leonie Phoebish.
Right. She's good and she's on a cheap contract.
They could trade Jalen Sherrod or Rebecca Gardner and Benijah.
Honshu suspended. I don't know. I don't know what New York would do to get Satou.
Who are the other ones?
Indiana, she would fit because their contracts are lower because Caitlin is your best player and she's cheap. Now, Kelsey Mitchell, who we should talk about as well, is a player
cored.
that was cored. In this article, her best fit considered Indiana Fever, also noted potentially going to Seattle or to Vegas in those theoretical swaps with either Jewell or Kelsey Plum. But if we talk about Kelsey Mitchell staying in Indiana, so you would need to move a Katie Lou Samuelson, who's a player that is overpaid at a position,
Yeah.
So I think it could work financially for Indiana, and I think it's a swing that's worth it because Indiana's trying to win immediately.
Yeah.
And they should be, because before Caitlin's contract is worth however much it's going to be in 4 years, you need to prioritize winning
Yeah.
now because they're good enough to win. Aaliyah's good enough. Caitlin's good enough. Add, a mega talented offensive star
So
in
do
Satou.
you think they are going to want to trade Kelsey Mitchell to get an upgrade? Or do you think they want to keep Kelsey Mitchell and try to trade Katie Lou or Damiris Dantas?
You could trade both
Yeah.
and then figure out, I don't know, who they're going to draft. They got a pretty decent pick in the draft. I personally think, because we should just talk about Kelsey Mitchell for a minute. I personally think Kelsey Mitchell's best fit is, I agree with this article, in Indiana, staying in Indiana. I think the chemistry that she's had with Caitlin as a pure shooting guard is pretty perfect for that team.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, they lost size, losing Temi in the expansion draft, which is why I think theoretically Satou would make sense there. But I think they can just find size in a different way. You can figure that out. They can make another smaller trade. I don't think Indiana needs to go crazy, personally. Or they could go with DeWanna Bonner, which we said before.
They could. No, I think one or two experienced players on this team, they'll be great.
Yeah. And I don't really see Kelsey Mitchell replacing Jewell or replacing KP. I understand that it makes sense for the swap. It was funny because one of the things that Candace Parker said in some random Instagram video was that she thinks the best fit for Kelsey Mitchell is Golden State. But that is it's all just the same four guards rotated around.
Okay, literally the best fit for anyone is Golden State because they have nothing right now.
Well, sure, if they just want to be purely paid a max contract.
Yeah.
I don't know. It shouldn't be your best fit if you want to try to win a championship. It's not going to happen.
Sure. But I don't think that's the consideration of what this best fit means.
All this to say, just back to my original point, I have a hard time figuring out where I see Satou. Mm-hmm. Just like, I don't have, my mind's eye doesn't have a place for her.
Okay.
I don't know. Because she's not going to stay in Dallas. But anyway, last person we're going to talk about, and this one probably won't be very long, Courtney Vandersloot. Mm-hmm. Listed here, best fit Minnesota Lynx.
Sure.
Adding a point guard to that Minnesota Lynx team, I guess to play off of, like, instead of letting Courtney be more of a point guard, let her go back to being a shooting guard and, like, have another pure passer in Courtney Vandersloot.
Courtney Williams.
Courtney, sorry, yes. Double Courtneys. The back Courtneys. Backcourt.
Nice.
That's good.
Oh, that's
good.
fun.
Yeah, I'm talking about Courtney Williams going back to a pure shooting guard situation and letting Vandersloot be, you know, a point guard.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't hate that.
I don't hate that. However, right now
she has been having meetings with the Sky.
And that is the second other top location for Courtney Vandersloot. Could make sense. Apparently, their GM highly has a very high opinion about Vandersloot and would like her. And, you know, she could help teach Angel and Camilla a bunch on the way out. She's also, like, in the twilight of her career. Mm-hmm. But, like, they need so many things in Chicago that, like,
literally
yeah,
everything.
I guess if, like, Sloop literally wants to just get a bag on the way out, she just got a ring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
I mean, honestly, because of Kennedy Carter, like, they're down Kennedy Carter now, so they need a lot more help.
There's touches available in Chicago.
Yeah.
But hey,
like way more than she's going to get in New York.
Sloot, Jewell, Angel, Camilla, plus Michaela Onyenwere as a starting five, theoretically. Mm-hmm. I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. You could compete.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, all this to say, this whole exercise is very theoretical.
Mm-hmm. I think the big things are, we expect to see free agents going to Dallas, Golden State, probably the Fever.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I expect free agents to go to Dallas.
Maybe not free agents, trades to happen for Dallas.
Sure. Trades, yes. To Dallas, right. Dallas. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Fever, if they decide to move Kelsey Mitchell.
I'm sure they'll do something, the Fever.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure Golden State will do something.
Uh-huh. The Liberty.
The Liberty seemingly will do something.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't have said the Aces, but
I
guess.
The Storm will do something.
The Storm need to do something.
Right. And you're right. You wouldn't have said the Aces, but it looks like the Aces.
Yeah. I don't expect a lot of movement, although I would love it, from Washington.
No. Minnesota, I don't see it.
I don't. Like, maybe they could pick up a guard, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. The Sparks, not really listed in this article.
No, we have heard almost nothing from the Sparks. We've heard almost nothing from Atlanta.
Yeah. I don't actually think Atlanta was not mentioned at all in any of these.
Which is crazy because Atlanta could also use a lot of help.
Yeah.
And could be a great fit for a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was thinking BG in Atlanta, potentially.
Potentially. Well, then Tina Charles has to go somewhere else.
Right. Well, Tina Charles wasn't listed in the article.
That's where I'm looking. Where's Tina?
Where is Tina?
Whatever team Tina's on, that's my team.
All this to say, free agency is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much movement.
Yeah, what are we doing on February 1st?
We will be in New York for a wedding.
Oh.
So.
Literally at a wedding.
Apologies if you
Great.
want any live reaction. We will have something that weekend, but it may not be right away. We'll be reacting to as the dust settles. But that's going to do this for this free agency mini-sode here, talking about this theoretical landing spots. Still fun to just react, and I know you had a lot of opinions going into this pod, so I appreciate you bringing those to the microphone. Again, if you would like to connect with us, you can do so at attackthebaseline@gmail.com or connect with us on Twitter, Bluesky, or Instagram at ATBPod_. Again, 5-star rating and review. Go check out our Unrivaled Week 2 preview. That should be up right after this. If you're already listening, or it should already be there. But Kristen, anything else before we send off?
I want to say justice for Teresa Weatherspoon.
Justice for Teaspoon.
She was so scapegoated for what happened in Chicago this year. That they didn't make the playoffs. It completely fell apart. They blame her for, Kennedy Carter, her personality, not meshing with the team. They fire Teaspoon. Looking like they're standing up for Kennedy Carter and the rest of the team, saying, oh, it was Teaspoon's fault. Now they decide to drop Kennedy Carter.
Yep.
So, literally, who are these people in charge of this team? What are you doing? Because Teaspoon, I guess, couldn't handle Kennedy Carter or was, only focusing on Kennedy Carter and not other people. Totally threw Teaspoon out.
A rookie head coach.
Rookie.
Right. She'd never been a head coach before.
Right.
I think, yes. Chicago is
I can't believe they did that. And look at Teaspoon now, 2-0 and Unrivaled. Killing it.
Just killing it.
So, justice for her. She deserves another job in the W.
I agree. Come back. Teaspoon gets an assistant head coach job. Give us bingo. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Attack the Baseline. Kristen, I am staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the Baseline. Thank you so much for listening. Go check out Unrivaled, and we'll be back for another episode very soon. But until then, ta-ta for now.